I'm back with a broken back. So this channel, not sure what to title it. Overcoming perversion. All types of perversion, of justice, obscurance, perversion. What to title it? It's mainly a casual, informal channel, social. However, it seems as though the so-called grown-up adults want me to politicize everything, including socialism. Or they don't. They will simply accept the religious term of being sociable, kind. So a very close-up video to first of all express how tired I am, so my eyes are half closed and voice is very slurred. What I look like when I'm doing a night shift. Oh yeah. So doing a night shift. So what the bad news is, to catch up, and then people who want to be friendly and helpful will catch up. So the update of good news and bad news first of all. The bad news, what has been happening for me, I had been bullied all summer last year and during Christmas time, in the winter time. They had 6 months to practice to capture my personal account, Google account, Facebook account, and personal details. Told the police and action fraud and what it is like to be severely disabled. Their response was careless, so much so I had to make a complaint to the police about the police conduct of Hertfordshire, and have to chase that up 3 months after my complaint, 4 months, in the new year. So nothing had gotten done. So 5 months in the new year, with the police support. So there is very little and no police support. And whenever I am involved with the police, they're discriminatory and they discredit me because of what they've done to my daughter. And this is the reason being. Not only me, but many people who are unfortunately claiming state benefits and unable to work. What else? So Action Fraud wrote a report and recommended I change my password, and I did all that, changed my phone. 2 of my new phones were stolen, Motorola and Nokia, that I purchased. online, on the internet. For the first time in my life, I purchased a phone on the internet. I normally go into the shop. And then BT, company called BT, this is their logo. During that 6 months of cybercrime, cyberbullying, identity theft and action fraud, I have had no and very little support from the police. When I was stuck, they told me to go to a public phone box where people spit, vomit and vandalize it. They contradicted everything. They make agreements and then they broke agreements. So I had to make a complaint about police conduct. They also made horrible referrals that I don't want to talk about, that were untrue. And it put me off being part of the community when the police behave in such a cruel way towards vulnerable women, particularly women, because men are normally physically and mentally stronger. Yeah, and I wouldn't say I'm just any woman. Someone who is loudmouth and loose on the street. I'm more quiet, reserved, a mum of 10 years, to be treated as if I'm a bit of dirt on the police officer's shoes during a crisis of not being able to use a phone, being crippled, severely disabled. They didn't care. So 2 of my phones were stolen via BT. Someone had actually stolen my account for the online account with BT as a customer. And my landline also, number 2. And number 3, what else was stolen? The actual hub. So the emails on my BT, the actual hub account for the Wi-Fi equipment. They gave me old equipment whilst the hacker was still connected via this same email, which is ridiculous. And my telephone conversations that were personal listening to, breach of data, which was horrendous during Christmas time. I disconnected the service and then they paid my bill, don't owe them anything, and they dispute that I would have to pay the early cancellation of the 24-month contract. Even though they had verbally agreed that I didn't have to pay that, I have to go to Citizens Advice Bureau to use their computers to access freedom of information or information sort of ombudsman. Well, they will then access the telephone conversations as proof. It's long, painstakingly tedious detail, annoying, only to listen to the conversation to say that they had acknowledged that it was a breach of data and I don't have to pay for a service that is not a service, but rather an attack attack on me, my home, my person, and my right to be friendly but not too friendly, and my right to express my religious beliefs without prejudice, without persecution. And this is my human right: freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of religion. None of that which I am getting as a service user or as a customer, left, right or centre. Particularly during the COVID pandemic, people are even more irritated. So these are all the bad news of the continual invisible bombardment of hackers. I can guess that they're a mixture of the two on the top of my head. I can guess I know who it is, but I have no proof. Obviously the hackers are up top-notch equipment. They would have PCs and computers, whereas I don't. And I cannot afford what I used to afford on my computer: software and packages for extra protection. Just as well because painstakingly I've had my laptop blackout. So it is something to do with corruption in the government, which is doing it to blacken my equipment, which is the same as robbery. And I tested it thoroughly to see where it was coming from. Is it an ordinary hacker, or is it a governing body that's doing it? And so I've come to a conclusion that it is a governing body that's doing it. So foreign governors, local governors, left, right and centre, that is doing it. So I'm, as a female version from David versus Goliath, this big giant. Then I had an ear infection, perforated eardrum that was bleeding, and no ear wax because of the plugs that I wore to block the insults and noise. As a result, I had no ear wax and it was all dry and blocked. No natural production of earwax. I've lost hearing in my ear. So this is between New Year, January, February, March, the 3 going into the 4th month, seeing an ear specialist to recover from that. Also sleep deprivation to recover from that. And the last thing, that was the last straw, is this phone. So this phone that I'm holding now is hacked, even though it doesn't look like it is hacked. So they profit from my suffering, and they like to rub it in that they're profiting from my suffering. And I am an easy target for them. So that they would get paid, as in the example of stealing my keyboard, and then I would have to pay £15 to unlock my phone, because I can not use my phone for the security on it. There's a code on it. It won't function properly without a security. With or without, they can remove the settings, how I have set it in the proper way to make it functionable. They make it dysfunctionable, and then I'm locked out. So they've stolen my keys. It's the same as theft, and then I have to pay £15 to unlock my phone. Is it worth it when you've got a hacker on there? that is connected on the online account. And so I reported it to say that the internal of Google has how to find my phone, which is an online service that connects via the satellite, I suppose, and the maps, Google Maps, and it's inside the settings. It's inside the menu, the actual account, and I cannot delete it. So it automatically switches itself on and off how to track my device. Some settings have an option on the apps to make sure that whatever I have set, no one else is going to undo what I have done after the update, as updates are regular. So I now have no internet as a result of what BT is doing, expecting me to pay £400 for cancelling my 24-month contract, even though it was breached. So I don't owe them anything. They said to close my account, just pay my bill. So it's one battle after the next. So I have no Wi-Fi to update my phone. It has to be done by data. And when it's not updated regularly enough, this gives the hacker even more control. So it was laying dormant. It was as stagnant waters, as I put it, sitting there while I had downloaded an app on this phone, which is brand new, which cost me, this is no little money, this cost me £100. And it's a new Motorola because the old Motorola was stolen. So 3 of my phones I've had the hacker actually 4 of my phones I was tracked and traced. Even with a brand new account, by finding out my location and certain people that work in the government. Who know everything. There is nothing that they don't know. So what they have done is made me like a lure, as if they're the killer whales in the government and I'm like a seal or a fat walrus or some type of creature that they're going to poke and pick at and target for abuse or for a game. And it's not very nice. Why can't I be a killer shark? Can we swap? And these hackers be the other way around, the seal, the squeak. Because the squeak always wins, even after it's been destroyed. And so it's some tool, the internet, and it's some social opportunity to have fun and to scrutinize and to find someone special that thinks the same as me. And that's what this tool is for. And I enjoy it because to me it is a window to the outside world and holy freedom. But it is them who are my opposition that are even rivals that are unfairly challenging me, that are making unholy freedom. So whatever I do for good, they do it for evil. So whatever I lock, they unlock. Whatever I have decided, to be, they have twisted it, so I have to twist it too. So there's a twist, there's a catch in everything that I do. Originally I said everything that I meant the opposite of, but now, even now I'm doing it because it is the internet, and I cannot tell. So I don't tell lies, but I cannot tell certain things as they are because of the majority versus the minority situation. So it's not a lie, it's a cover. It's like a mask to test people, to see who my friends are discreetly, who my friends are and who are not my friends discreetly. So it's not a lie, it's a discreet test and a mental health assessment. When I say the opposite of what I mean, originally, for the past 2 years, 3 years using social media. So I'm off colour. But I do need the internet, particularly that I'm disabled, and pandemic of COVID-19, everybody's working from home and using it for their advantage, so-called madams and big men who are bigger than life, and they have no problems like this. It's only me who has these problems, and it's a horrible stuck situation. There's no way out, whereas the rich get richer and they have more bad freedoms. Compared to God's holy people, we have less freedoms and become poorer as a result of persecution and injustice, even death, life threats. And the last bad news is my hamster died because she was eating plastic, gnawing, biting it, chewing it, swallowing it. So she poisoned herself by being silly. She had plenty of wood and other things to gnaw on. She chose to gnaw plastic. I purchased hamster, a new hammy, a male, in opposition to the female I had for 2.5 years. It made me very sad, and it reminded me of my mum. Well, fake mum. So as what it's like to be an orphan or outcast. What else is there? I have been stalked and annoyed by a giant van that came out to block my path, and I know it was a setup. It's highly unlikely that it was a coincidence to insult me. When I was shopping for the first time in 2 years, I'd been shopping, just crossing the road. It wasn't a busy road, it was a car park, and suddenly this giant van, this lorry, I've never seen a lorry so big in all my days, crossed my path, and it was scary, very scary. And in the same day, when I did that shopping, I met someone that reminded me of someone on YouTube I subscribed to. Could be his brother. So it was as though I was going literally on a battlefield rather than a fun day out to do some shopping. So this is completing the bad news. The good news is that I'm taking blue pill to lose weight, which is proven and subscribed to me by my doctor, because of the pandemic I added more weight, and therefore it's even more painful. But even 100% fat-free cracker can make me add weight. So I treated myself with some cakes before I started my diet. Well, not all at once, just a crumb or a little bit at a time. Something sweet. I don't have problems, thank God, I don't have cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, diabetes. But being overweight can cause heart problems, and so this has proven to help me to lose weight without dieting alone. And that is also scary, but in a positive way, that I'm not a cripple or permanently paralysed anymore, and could not go swimming because of the pandemic situation, and cannot walk no more than 10 metres, maybe twice a month, until I can find some proper equipment, like gym equipment. That's the good news. So tablet for weight loss, gym equipment to purchase. Looking forward to speaking to my daughter, who is now she's now age 17.